but we're still going higher. I still expect tech stocks 20 to 25% higher next 6 to 9 months. So I continue to view this as just a natural speed bump on our way higher.
Hey, I'm Steven and this is Solving the Money Problem. If you're new, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. What an exciting day for Tesla stock. Stock's down around 15-16% as I record this in the very early morning trading. And of course, I'm buying more Tesla stock. As I've said before, in 2030, I think today's prices are going to look like a typo, so I'm buying when things are on sale, of course. And speaking of buying stocks, hey guys, if you're in the US and you'd like to help out the channel and get a free stock, check out the link in the description to WeBull. If you open a new account and fund it with $100, you'll get a free stock valued up to $1,600. And if you're in Australia, the UK or New Zealand, you can get a free stock with stake, also using the link in the description. Let's get back to it. And on the topic of WeBull, stake, and buying stocks using my referral links, just some insight for you guys. I've noticed a bit of a correlation. I don't get a whole lot of information from these referral partners, but I do know when somebody has opened an account using my referral link. There seems to be a correlation. When Tesla stock is down reasonably, there seems to be more people opening accounts and presumably buying the stock. This is pretty good practice. As they say, buy low, sell high, as opposed to buy high, sell low. I'm sure there's a few people panicking doing exactly that who bought Tesla last week. Rip you. It's going to be very embarrassing in a few months' time. But anyway, I don't know exactly what moves stock prices, but I have a funny feeling there's two things driving Tesla's stock price down this morning. The first of which is the lack of S&P 500 inclusion, which a few people are now, oh my god, they snubbed Tesla. Just calm down. The S&P 500 simply did not announce Tesla's inclusion last week when a few people were expecting it because there were some other smaller companies announced for inclusion. This doesn't mean that Tesla's never going to be in the S&P 500. It means the announcement hasn't taken place yet, so please just relax. Second of all, Tesla's $5 billion at-the-market stock offering, which was a huge power move from Tesla coming from a place of strength, giving them totally flexible terms. You must sell these shares only if we instruct you to, only if we want to, based on the stock price at the time. This is a very unusual way of offering stock to the market, but hey, Tesla was in a very strong position, gave them total flexibility and control. Awesome. Tesla has sold all $5 billion of this stock within just a few days. This is a very bullish signal in my opinion. I think, however, the market has taken this as a little bit more bearish than I do. Now, there is a reason why I'm so bullish on this. Tesla had the opportunity to basically collect $5 billion for future growth and expansion at a very high valuation, and they took it. Tesla has now added $5 billion to the bank. That's enough to produce 3, 4, maybe even 5 new factories. Yes, I'm not exaggerating. Go look at Tesla's CapEx efficiency. It's insane. Think about this. Today, Tesla has 2 factories producing vehicles and a further 2 under construction. Get where I'm going with this? And then of course, later this month we have Battery Investor Day, where Tesla is going to tell us their plan on how they will scale battery production to multiple terawatt hours per year. One of my favorite pearls of wisdom regarding personal finance and investment is this: dig the well before you need the water. And I believe this is exactly what Tesla has done. And now indulge me in a little bit of wild speculation. The timing around this Tesla stock at the market offering and potential S&P 500 inclusion seems very, very coincidental. Is it possible that the S&P and Tesla have met and discussed and said, look guys, we'll need you to issue some additional shares, otherwise there's a potential that your stock is going to go to the moon. By the way, link in description to the merch store, Tesla stock to the moon. It's become a self-fulfilling prophecy. I didn't think this shirt would be an accurate depiction of Tesla's stock price in the coming months when I designed it, but well, it has been, hasn't it? To sum it up, I believe that this is an extremely bullish time for Tesla. However, the market begs to differ. Sounds like opportunity to me.
Guys, there's some news out on Tesla right now. I want to run through this. Last week, you probably remember that Tesla said that it would be issuing $5 billion in additional shares to the market from time to time as it saw fit. Well, it turns out it saw fit in the 3 days from the time it announced that. It announced this back on September 1st. It just put out news that it completed the sale of $5 billion of common stock at the market offering that had previously been disclosed. It completed it on September 4th after announcing it on September 1st.
Let me know in the comments below. Did you buy Tesla stock last week, effectively buying some of this stock offering? I certainly did my part, as I mentioned in previous videos last week. I was buying literally every single date. And again, I want to reiterate, I'm a long-term investor. I will not be forced to sell any of these shares. I have plenty of cash flow. I know that next week, tomorrow, in a few months, the stock could be anywhere. I don't care. What I care about is what is the stock worth in 2030 and beyond. And as I've said, I think it's going to look like a bargain at today's prices in 10 plus years time.
So if you look back over the course of the last week about what happened to that stock over that time, well, for Tesla, it was a very opportune time to come in with that because it sold the $5 billion at a very high price. The stock has sold off pretty sharply since then. It's down 10% today.
If anyone's wondering, Tesla stock, as I record this, is down almost 25% since the stock offering was announced. So yeah, certainly the timing worked out. Maybe by design, maybe by accident, but in either case, that means less dilution for existing Tesla shareholders, and man, that $5 billion is going to go a very long way.
But if you go back, it was at $480. It's lost about $100, which is a pretty significant decline when you're going $480 to $374. I'm trying to do off 100 in my head. Not quite 20%, but that's a big decline that you're talking about over that period of time. And again, down 10.5% today. Today, it's really the overall technology stocks that are under pressure. You've been watching the NASDAQ. You know that this is an issue of what goes up must come down. It's kind of the laws of physics taking hold here because we watched all of these stocks run.
That is actually an important point. I often see many people who live in like a Tesla stock bubble who literally only ever pay attention to the price of Tesla stock and not the broader market, different sectors, etc. But very often times when the market moves, whether it's tech stocks, etc., what you'll find typically, it's almost like Tesla has a magnifier on it. So if on average, stocks are down 3 or 4% in tech, maybe Tesla's down 6 or 7%. If they're up 2 or 3%, maybe Tesla's up 5 or 6%. Now, this isn't always the case.
By the way, even with this 10% sell-off today, Tesla is still up, I believe, about 270% for the year to date. So you are talking about these stocks that have continued to soar. You can look through any of the FANG names, Microsoft, those are the stocks that have continued to soar, and those are the ones that are really seeing some of the sell-off that we've seen just over the last 3 trading sessions, or the last 2 trading sessions, and then this morning in the pre-market.
I find the psychology of investors quite fascinating. Rarely am I on the same page with the overall consensus. I have a question. Let me know in the comments if you sold Tesla stock recently, if you've been buying, holding, or just watching on the sidelines. And I have a question. If you have sold some Tesla stock, what was the reasoning behind that? Did your investment thesis change? Did your circumstances change? Was there an emergency? Were you forced to sell? Or were you doing so from a place of strength, choosing to sell because it suits you? Were you locking in profits? Were you looking at selling out of Tesla, getting into another stock? What was the thinking and the reasoning behind that? The reason I ask is this. The shoes that I'm in, I'm not going to need any of the capital I'm putting in Tesla for at least, I'm not going to need it, period, actually. But that means that I have the flexibility to hold for a long time. Now, if I were to lock in some profits, as they say, you can't go broke making a profit, but you're probably not going to get wealthy either. Keep in mind, you're going to pay tax on your profits. Depending on where you live, that could be as much as 50% or more of your gains. So, you sell Tesla stock, you pay taxes, you're left with a little bit less than your actual profit, then what do you do with that capital now? I'm really curious to know. Again, there's nothing wrong with selling Tesla stock. I'm in a situation where I'm not going to need to. I'm a long-term investor, so that's awesome. But for those of you who have sold, let me know what was your reasoning. Were you following your plan? Did your circumstances change? Did you decide to buy a Model Y for your HyperCharts channel? Shout out, Gally. That is a badass decision, by the way. I think we're going to get a very interesting feedback loop with early Tesla investors, pre-stock split investors, let's call them, who've made plenty of profits on their Tesla stock. Maybe they think, well, great, now I've made enough to buy a Model S, Model Y, Model X, Cybertruck, I might buy one. I think we're going to get a little bit of this feedback loop. Tesla investors buying Tesla products who previously wouldn't have been able to afford them. That means Tesla's stock price goes up. Well, doesn't mean the stock price goes up. It means the company's financials improve incrementally. But lots of investors are doing the same thing. This process could continue to play out over the next few years. And now let's see what Dan Ives, Wedbush analyst who has a very bullish price target of $500 in the bull case for Tesla stock, let's see what he had to say about Tesla and tech stocks in general.
We are watching shares of Tesla this morning, the company announcing that it completed the sale of $5 billion in common stock on Friday. That was just in the span of about 3 days. It sold all of that stock. You can see this morning it's off by about 9.6%. In the meantime, the S&P Index Committee left this stock out of its index when announcing its coming quarterly rebalancing, surprising plenty of investors.
And to me, I view it as a natural speed bump or a process. or we're still going higher. I still expect tech stocks 20 to 25% higher next 6 to 9 months.
For those of you who don't know a huge amount about Dan Ives, how credible is this guy? Let's bring up his tip ranks profile. This effectively aggregates all the recommendations made from analysts on Wall Street about stocks and then tracks the performance of those recommendations. So you don't have somebody just appearing on TV, oh, I think this, and there's no accountability. There is accountability here. Dan has a great track record. Let's contrast that with somebody, say, I don't know, how about Gordon Johnson? And now you will see the value in actually checking this website to understand who is making these recommendations. What's their track record like? Forget about your gut reaction, your emotional response, how you feel about what they've said. Look at the data, look at the track records, and consider that when hearing these kind of statements about things that you may or may not agree with.
I could tell you over the last, call it 2-3 days, over the weekend going to last week, institutionally, 2-to-1 ratio investors call me looking at names to own or do work on rather than selling. So I continue to view this as just a natural speed bump on our way higher.
Hey, Dan, just looking at this year, even with the sell-off that we're seeing, the NASDAQ's still up 26% year to date. And if you go all the way back to January 1st of 2017, you're talking about the NASDAQ up by 270%, whereas the broader market's up by about 55%. So you continue to believe that this is going to be the sector that outperforms, because that's some massive outperformance over the last 3 years.
Yeah, it's been massive outperformance, no doubt. And obviously, a lot of skeptics throughout the rally. But I view it as, if you look in this environment, a lot of these growth stories have been accelerated by 2 to 3 years in terms of what we're seeing today. Now, there's a digestion process in terms of the valuation, especially some of the work from home names and some of the large cap tech names. But to me, the fundamentals, I think Street's still underestimating where these stories go fundamentally.
No doubt the value investors are turning in their graves at the very thought of tech having further to run. That's alright, you guys keep doing your PE ratios and trying to figure out your enterprise value, and I'll keep looking at disruptive, innovative technologies and watching the exponential growth of these areas that are disrupting every aspect of our lives.
Hey, Dan, we're out of time, but very quickly, would you buy Tesla shares here too?
Why, yes I would. Oh wait, I'm not Dan. Oh, sorry for interrupting.
Look, I would. S&P 500, in terms of the lack of inclusion on the index, that was a shock to the street. I think it's a knee-jerk. It continues to be the best way to play the EV market here, although the S&P 500 not being included was a shock to the bulls.
Well, as you guys know, I'm with Dan on this one. I've literally been buying Tesla stock last week and this morning all the way down. I love a good bargain. I'm looking at this with 2030 vision and oh man, it looks cheap. Not investment advice, of course, just sharing what I'm doing. My thinking, my reasoning, my investment decisions. Keep thinking for yourself. Don't be a sheep. I'm Stephen Mark Ryan. This is Solving the Money Problem, and I love you all. And don't forget your free stocks with WeBull and Stake using the links below. Deposit $100 in your WeBull account and you'll get a free stock valued up to $1,600. And Stake, spin the roulette wheel, you'll either get Nike, GoPro or Dropbox. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And of course, if you have any ideas for future videos, let me know. I read all your comments. P.S. If you're still watching, you're awesome. If you'd like early access, exclusive videos, regular Q&As, our private Discord server and more, consider supporting the channel at patreon.com/solvingthemoneyproblem so I can keep creating content for you guys. There's a link in the description. You can now also become a member of the channel for some exclusive perks. To learn more, click the join button next to subscribe. And don't forget to check out our merch store. Either way, the best form of support is you being here and watching, so thanks again.